Hello, it's your local librarian Christy. Today I'll be showing you how to make the moss coaster. We will be using an embroidery canvas, plastic canvas, and we'll be using yarn. I'll go over how to make all these stitches. We got some poofs, we got this one and this one. I'll show you how to make them. I personally recommend putting them on the corner so that you are able to take your coffee mug and put it on the center. We have 4 different stitches we'll be looking at. So we got the poofs. We have right here is kind of like a cross stitch where you'll just be doing that in a more chaotic way to make it look like moss. We got some short stitch, some long running stitches, and then this is my favorite stitch. It is called the French knot, which is an embroidery stitch, but before you get intimidated by the term embroidery, it's pretty simple and I'll show you how to do it. Okay, let's get started. So we have our canvas, let's put that to the side. Okay, so this one's a little too chunky, so I'm gonna actually pull the 2 apart. You do it this way. So I've pulled it apart some, and it's okay to deconstruct your yarn. You can always put another strand of yarn with it too. So we're pulling 2 of the strands on through. Cool, I got the 2. And now I'm gonna put the thread through again and grab those other 2. And it's okay if your yarn splits and threads, whatever, because it's just gonna add to a cooler look when we're done. Cool. Now we have both sides through. Up, and we are threaded. So with embroidery we do not tie until the end, so we just hold on to it loose like this. You're gonna have to choose which side is the front or back of your canvas. It really does not matter. I'm gonna go and start in this corner. So go from the bottom to the top, and then we just have to pull it on through. Since it is a chunkier yarn, it is going to be a little tight. So once I do one, I'm going to come back in onto the next one. And I'm just starting anywhere on my canvas. You can start in the center if you want. So I want to keep that a little tall like that. So these will be large stitches. So just keep it like that, and then we can go on into the next area. And we're just going to keep doing that for the corner to make this poof. I'm just going straight in right next to it. And so it's looking a little like that. I'm going to go, so I just went through, we're going to come back up. So I'm pulling tight when I'm coming out, but then I'm leaving it loose as I go back in. So we got some fun loops like that. I'm gonna keep going until I have a nice little bush. And then when you start getting towards the end, you want to make sure that you're pulling on just the tail portion of it. So just give it a pull. That pulled it too tight. You can always just pull it back. So this side is our tail. So we're doing a cool mossy stitch here. But it's actually looking cool if it's only barely coming out. I think these are a bit taller, but it is what it is. It's gonna look cool. So I think I'm gonna do one more. We're gonna end right here, and then from here we will just pull the tail out. Pull this guy back up. I'm going to take my needle off, and we will just tie. So this is my starter thread, this is where I'm ending. I'm going to give this a tie and you want to hold down to the last loop that went through so we don't pull those too small. And then give this a tie again, and then we'll just give this a snip. All right, and here is the start of our moss coaster. All right, from here we're going to switch colors, and we're going to do that tiny cross stitch type stitch, and I'll show you what I'm talking about in a second. So first things first is we take our needle, we take our threader, poke it through the needle, put the yarn in the middle of the threader, just like that, and now you go ahead and pull the yarn through. The thinner the yarn, the easier it is to thread the needle. So, and from here, let's work, like I said, you can choose wherever. I'm going to work, I think around here is where I'm going to go. So let's just start here and pull on through. So make sure you want to hold your tail. I'm going to hold that to the back. You can kind of see, but we're going to pinch it here while we work. And as we work, we're going to go over it. So I find it fun to just go across. So you want to skip one hole and move over to the next one because we don't want to see the plastic canvas as we work. And you just give it a nice pull. And then we'll come up this way. Just one stitch over. Give it a nice pull. And now let's go over here. So I'm just pulling the yarn through to give that. But you see how you can kind of see the space in between? This is where the fun starts. So we can go here and then cross over. What we did is a giant like diagonal. And that kind of covers the area. And then we can come up here and just do that again. Give it a pull, tight pull, and I'm gonna cross over. Let's go, so we're going here, and I want to choose this one here, just because I feel like it. There's no rhyme or reason to how you want to make your coaster. Just kind of see how the yarn works. So see how that can go here? Now I can go here and come out over here. And it helps to keep the other yarns away from each other. And I'm kind of also making sure to stitch over the yarn in the back, and I'll show you what I'm talking about in a second. So let's give that a nice stitch in on a diagonal. So we have some nice stitches, and if you can see, I'm trying to trap the yarn with my yarn as I work. So let's go in this spot here, because you can see the little canvas here a bit, and I just don't like that, so we'll go here. And then we can just cross over here. Let's come out. And it always helps to backtrack. That way you aren't allowing the yarn to see through, to peek on through. Go back into a stitch that you've already gone into. This way I'm covering up that plastic that would have been in between the two. So I'm pretty much going with stitches that are, I think I finished here, so let's come out here. I'm going no more than 3 squares away to keep all my stitches about the same length. And like I said, I don't really have a plan on where I'm going. I'm just zigzagging around to make sure that we're covering that plastic canvas. But if you have no problems with it showing through, then be my guest. Keep sewing however you like. And if you want to, you could loop around your border as well. Maybe I'll do that when I come back, but I'm focusing on just teaching you guys the stitches right now. But this has just kind of been me zigzagging around. Okay, I have zigzagged my way across, kind of filling in the spaces where I felt like need to be filled. It looks kind of mossy. We have about this much left, so to tie it off, I'm just going to slip under some of these stitches, whichever ones you think sound sturdy. So I'm going to do this loop. And we're going to loop on back so that we can tie a knot. So I'm looping here, and then to tie a knot, we will go back through again, and then give it all a nice little pull. There is our little knot, and we are done with the green for now. Okay, so we're going to split our yarn, which we've done here, and we're going to give it little segments. So once you split the yarn, this yarn can become very easy to pull apart. I have accidentally ripped it here, so we are going to do this. So you just cut your little yarn into segments. We're going to work on making some little pom-poms to give more texture to your pieces. Just cut some yarn up however you want. So I'm trying to make mine all around the same size, but that is okay if it's not, and depends on how big you want it to be. We can always also come back in and trim it down shorter, but for now let's start with this guy. So we will take some of the yarn that we have, and we're going to thread it through our needle. Thread it through, put the threader through, threader, and now pull it on through. So we have it like here, and depends on where you want yours. I'm going to actually cut this in half so that they'll be a bit smaller, so giving that a cut. Now they'll look kind of like that on there. So I'm gonna put them here. So you just get where you want it to go. I think that's a good spot. And then you're just going to find a hole. Go ahead and grab it up. And then try to get as close to the same hole as you had. So let's go here. This is the one diagonally from it. And we'll hold in the bundle. Pull it on down. There we go. That is one little poof. So I'm going to just take my yarn in the back, give this a tie. So we're just doing your basic knot here to tie it on down, and then we can just continue to crisscross so that we have it secured. Cool. Now that's secured, we can just poof this up, and now you have a interesting little moss type thing. So, and then we can give it a bit more of an even trim. So you just give it a hold up. And there we go. Nice little poof that we have going. And then we can give this another tie, and then we are done with this poof. And you can put as many poofs on there as you want. I just wanted to do one to show you guys what that would look like. I'm going to tie this around again. Cool. And now we can give that a snip. And there we go. We have one little bush here. This is the one that was made with loops. This is what happens if you want to make it like a pom-pom. Hello, I'm going to teach you how to do the long running stitch here. So we're going to take 2 different colors of yarn. That just helps to give it more texture. You can do it 1 strand if you want. I chose 2. So let's start with our canvas. We have our needle and our threader. So we shall insert the threader into the needle. And then I found that it's easier to do 1 thread at a time. So let's go ahead and pull 1 yarn through. We'll get the first one through. Toss the threader through again. Put the other yarn through the threader. And then pull that one on through. Alright, I'm done with the threader. Pull this down. So when we were doing the smaller one, we were going like 1 across, so we come here, skip 1, go over. Here we're going to go about 5 across, and we can choose wherever we want to.